Welcome Algebra 1 students to another Regents review video. This is the August 2014 Algebra 1 Common Core Regents exam for New York State. These are going to be the solutions. For part 1, questions 13 through 24, this is the second half of the multiple choice solutions. Before we begin here, please make sure that you are not here to cheat or to copy my answers. Try the problems on your own because the only way to get better at math is to actually do the mathematics. Make sure that you subscribe and visit my website at www.nysmathreadersprep.com for much more math content in Algebra 1 and future studies. And just a quick note that the TI Inspire CX calculator will be heavily used throughout the Algebra 1 videos, so make sure that if you want to purchase one of these things, I highly suggest it. It is a little pricey, it's a little expensive. I think it's currently going for $125 on Amazon right now. That's as of 2017, but I mean, I don't think that the price will change much, but make sure that you purchase it because it is such an awesome, powerful calculator. All right, enough of my chitter-chatter. Let's go ahead on to number 13. All right, 13 was actually one of the most, not ridiculous questions, but it was definitely a challenge if you didn't know what the question was asking. Which graph shows a line where each value of y is 3 more than half of x? You really need to know your language of algebra. So they're actually saying that the letter y is in mathematics means equals. 3 more means plus 3. And half of x means 1/2 of x. Ladies and gentlemen, what am I doing here? What do all of these things, what are they going to make for myself? It's going to make a line. It's going to create an equation of a line. Y is 3 more than 1/2 of x. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the line. Y is equal to 1/2 x plus 3. And the only one that shows the line y equals 1/2 x plus 3, get rid of choice 1, that doesn't have a y-intercept to 3. This is negative slope, and this one has a slope over here. Choice 3 has a slope of 2. Choice 2 is the answer. Up 1 to the right 2, and has a y-intercept of 3. And that's how you do that question. Number 14. The table below shows the average diameter of a pupil in a person's eye as he or she grows older. What is the average rate of change in millimeters per year of a person's pupil diameter from age 20 to 80? Okay. Average rate of change, if you don't know it by now, I will start screaming into the microphone. Average rate of change means slope. Okay? Make sure that you know what it means. Slope can be calculated by the change in y over the change in x, which is just the same thing as saying y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay? So, we're going to calculate between 20 and 80. This is your x value. This is your y value. So, let's go ahead and calculate it. We get over here and over here. So, we get 2.3 minus 4.7 all over 80 minus 20. So, what that is going to do is we're just going to simplify it. And that, when you plug into your calculator, you get approximately equal to negative 0.04, which is the average rate of change. So that is going to be choice 4. Moving on. 15 says, which expression is equivalent to x to the 4th minus 12x squared plus 36? So you need to know how to factor this. This is just a very typical factoring question of what adds to the middle linear term and what multiplies to give you the constant term. So this is x squared and x squared. Set up your double bubble. I call it the double bubble. Now what adds to negative 12 and multiplies to give you 36? Well, that's x squared minus 6. X squared minus 6. And that is going to be choice 1. Pretty simple question, right? And that's it. All right, moving on. 16. The third term of an arithmetic sequence is 10, and the fifth term is 26. If the first term is a sub 1, what is an equation for the nth term of this sequence? So they're saying to you that the third term is 10, and that the fifth term is 26. Okay, this is quite an interesting question, because they don't give you the common difference. It's your job to find it. So look at this, ladies and gentlemen. We have the third and the fifth. We could calculate the fourth by doing this. We know it's an arithmetic sequence because they tell us. We know that an arithmetic sequence has a common difference. I hope that you know by now that in order to calculate the common difference, in order to calculate the common difference of a sequence, that is your second term minus your first term, or it's just the right minus the left. So it could be a sub 5 minus a sub 4, a sub 4 minus a sub 3. It could be any of those expressions. But we don't have the middle between these two terms. So we have to think a little abstractly a little bit here. So how do we get from a3 to a4? Well, we add by a constant term, which is d. And then how do we get from the 4th to the 5th? Again, we add by the common difference or the constant term. Ladies and gentlemen, we can now set up an equation like this. The number 10 plus 2 times the differences is equal to 26. We can now find the common difference. Subtract the 10 on both sides. We get 2d equals 16. And then divide by 2 on both sides, you get the common difference to be 8. So that means if the common difference is 8, your fourth term is equal to 18 because you're adding the 8 to each term. So what that means for us is that if your d is 8 and we know that your a sub 3 is 10, we can now calculate the first term of the sequence. Why am I telling you all this information? Well, your goal is to actually convert all this information into a sub n is equal to a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. That is the ultimate goal down here to do. So in order to find a sub 1 is all the way out front with these two little blank spaces. So we're going to subtract by 8 to get down. So 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 minus another 8 is equal to negative 6. So that means that a sub 1, that is equal to negative 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our d value of 8, and we're going to take our first term of negative 6, and we're going to plug it in. So we get a sub n is equal to the first term, which is negative 6, plus n minus 1 times the common difference of 8. We're now going to distribute that 8 in. A sub n is equal to negative 6 plus 8n minus 8. A sub n is equal to 8n minus 14. That is your answer. Where is it? That is choice 2. Not too bad of a question. It's tedious, but again, not that bad. If you need to rewind it and just refresh your memory, go back and do so. All right, that's how you do number 16. Moving on to 17. The graph of the equation y equals ax squared is shown below. If the letter a is multiplied by negative a half, the graph of the new equation is what? So first and foremost, if you have a negative a value, it is now opening down. So it now opens downward, this parabola. Okay? And if it's a fraction that's less than the number 1, it's actually going to widen. So your graph could look something like this. It could look something like, it could look something like this. It's getting wider and it's going down. So your answer is going to be choice 1, wider and opens downward. And if you want to check your answer, make y equals x squared and then make the new equation y equals negative 1/2 x squared and just compare these two functions into your calculator. So we get x squared negative 1/2 x squared. And there you go. It's wider and it opens downward. So that's why it's going to be choice 1. Number 18, the zeros of this function are what? So this one is difficult in the sense that it's not given to you as a trinomial. So what you have to do is you are smarter than New York State, and you are going to FOIL this. So we get f of x is equal to x plus 2 minus 25, right? We are now going to distribute those values. So we get f of x is equal to x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4 plus 25. So now we get f of x is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 29. No, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Is that positive 25 or negative 25? My apologies. That's negative 25, folks. Negative 25. So that is going to be negative 21. Negative 21. There we go. So now I'm just going to find the zeros, which are the x-intercepts. So now we're going to set this whole equation equal to 0. X squared plus 4x minus 21, set that equal to 0. What adds to 4 and multiplies to give you positive 21? That is just going to be x plus 7x minus 3 equals 0. Do your t-bar, x equals negative 7, and x is equal to positive 3. And that is why it is going to be choice 4. And that is your answer. All right, moving on. Number 19. During the 2010 season, football player McGee's earnings M were $0.005 million more than those of his teammate Fitzpatrick. The two players earned a total of $3.95 million. I couldn't even imagine what I would do with that type of money. I would move to, I don't know, Florida or Cabo or Hawaii or Tahiti or somewhere nice. I want to go on vacation. Which system of equations could be used to determine the amount each player earned in millions of dollars? So, you need to know that when you add these together, when you add McGee's earnings and Fitzpatrick's earnings, that is going to be the combination of M plus F. So this is McGee's earnings plus Fitzpatrick's earnings. It must equal $3.95 million. So the only the only answers that show that are choices 1 and 3. No, I'm sorry, choices 1 and 4, because that is being shown right here. These are their total earnings. Now we just have to figure out what the second equation is. They're saying that McGee's earnings is $0.005 million more than Fitzpatrick. So therefore, McGee's earnings is going to be Fitzpatrick's earnings plus $0.005 million. And the one that shows that is going to be choice 4. The bottom equation represents McGee earning $0.005 more millions of dollars than Fitzpatrick, and that will be his earnings. So that's why it is going to be choice 4. Number 20, what is the value of x in the equation? This should be screaming in your head, least common denominator. So x minus 2 over 3 plus 1 over 6 equals 5 over 6. So, ladies and gentlemen, your LCD is 6. The LCD is your least common denominator. So, you only multiply each fraction by what you need. I only need to multiply this by a 2 in order to make this to be a 6. So, you get 2 times x minus 2 over 6 plus 1/6 is equal to 5/6. So, now from here, I can now just cancel out these 6's. Once you have the same LCD, you could wipe out those denominators and just solve for x. Let's do it. 2 times 2 minus x plus 1 equals 5. Distribute that 2. We get 4 minus 2x plus 1 equals 5. 4 plus 1 is 5, minus 2x equals 5. We're now going to, why do I feel like I made a mistake here? 4, 2, hold on 1 second, 4. It's because, see, I work too fast, and I screw up all the time. I just made 2 minus x where it should be x minus 2. My apologies again. All right, I need to slow down. So we get, sorry about that, 2x minus 4 plus 1 equals 5. So we get 2x minus 3 equals 5. Add the 3 on both sides. You get 2x equals 8. Divide by the 2. You get x is equal to the number 4, which is going to be choice 1. And that's the answer to number 20. Moving on to the next one. 21. The table below shows the number of grams of carbohydrates X and the number of calories Y of 6 different foods. Which equation best represents the line of best fit for the set of this data? So what your job is, you're going to type all this in to your calculator. And then you're going to get your line of best fit. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to open up a lists and spreadsheets page. And I'm going to call this carbohydrates. It doesn't matter what you write. You could just write X and Y if you really want to, but I like to see what I'm writing here. So let's see. We have 8, 9.5, 10, 6, 7, 4, then go back up. 120, 138, 47. So just type all this into your calculator. This is all from what they gave you on the chart. And then what you're going to do here is once you're done inputting those values, you are then going to press Control Dock, add a calculator. Go to Menu, go down to Statistics, go to Stat Calculations, and then go to Linear Regression MX plus B. It doesn't matter which one you use. I know that there were two of them. It doesn't really matter. Your X list is your carbohydrates. Your Y list is your calories. Click OK. Okay, here we go. This is what we need right here. Your slope and your y-intercept. Your slope is 14.1. Your y-intercept is 5.8. So if you go back, boom, choice 4. So type in calculator, your 14.1, that's your M value. Your your B value is right there, 5.8, and it perfectly matches the calculations in your calculator. All right, not too bad. 22. This is a piecewise function. Remember, a piecewise function is just two functions that are different pieces. Pretty simple. Which function is related to the graph? So what you have to know to yourself, or for yourself, is that this function here, it should ring in your head that that's a quadratic, and that this is a linear function, or a line. So you're looking for this value right here. This value is x is equal to 1. So you need to know that this is x is greater than 1, and that this is x is less than 1. So your quadratic function must be x is less than 1, and your linear function must be x is greater than 1. So let's take a look here. That doesn't help us at all, because all the quadratic functions are less than 1. Okay, so the only one that we're really, the only problem that we're really zoning in on is that all of the lines are different. So we got to calculate what is this line. Well, let's take a look at the slope. The slope is up 1 to the right 2. Does that help us at all? Does that help us at all? No, I'm sorry. The slope isn't 2. It's up 1 to the right 2. So the slope is a half for that line. Does that help us at all? Is there a slope of a half? Yes, there is. Choice 2. You're done. And that's how you do it. Now, by the way, did you know that you could graph piecewise functions in the TI Inspire? Yeah, just another reason to get this calculator, right? If you go to your graph page and you click on the button next to the book or the catalog, and you click on this little 4-window thing here, that's a piecewise function. Click that. Now you could type in x squared, and now if you go over to the right, you type in x, and if you press control equals, equal sign's right below the blue button, and you click on less than 1, and then you repeat the process down here, 1/2 x plus 1/2, and then you repeat the process on the right. Sorry, that should be a half. X is greater than 1. And look at that. It actually matches perfectly with the picture on your Regents exam. The only problem with this calculator is it doesn't tell you that there's a hole there. But you just should know because 1 is not included in this at all. All right, 23. The function h of t equals negative 16t squared plus 144 represents the height h of t in feet of an object from the ground after t seconds after it is dropped. A realistic domain for this function is what? So the domain, ladies and gentlemen, are your x values. So look, you're dropping an object from the ground. It represents the height in feet from of an object from the ground after t seconds it's dropped. So you're just dropping an object. What you should know is that you shouldn't be having negative seconds, because the domain, so if you were to just do a quick sketch, now you'll need to graph the actual thing, just understand that this is in feet per second. T is in seconds. So that is your x-axis. Your y-axis is the height. Okay? So all real numbers makes absolutely no sense for seconds. Seconds has to be positive. You can't have negative seconds. Again, you can't have negative seconds over here. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen. That is h of t. That's your y values. No, it has to be choice 2. Without even plugging it into the calculator, you know it's choice 2, because you can't have negative seconds. All real numbers has negative numbers, and that's the range. That's your y value. It has to be choice 2 from 0 to 3 seconds. And let me just show you on the graph page. If I were to graph this for you, and you actually type this in, negative 16x squared plus 144. Look at this. Look at this. And this is where they're trying to trick you, people. They are tricking you because they have negative 3 there, yeah. But this ball could be dropped off of a cliff. You don't know. You could be standing on top of a cliff and then just dropping the object. And that's your height up there. And these will be the time of seconds that pass by. 1, 2, 3. 3 seconds passes by. Your answer is choice 2. Last question of the exam, and boy, oh boy, is this a long one. If f of 1 is equal to 3, and f of n is defined by this formula, negative 2 times f of n minus 1 plus 1, then what is f of 5? Okay, this is known as a recursive sequence. Recursion means that they give you the first term, and they give you a sequence to generate the following terms, and you could solve it easily. Now, what I mean by that is that this particular function has no particular pattern. So what you're forced to do is you're forced to use the previous term to get the next term. So we're going to do that right now. So f of 1 is 3, right? Let's now find f of 2. F of 2 is negative 2f of 2 minus 1 plus 1. That's equal to negative 2f of 1 plus 1, right? So we get f of 2 is equal to negative 2. Well, what is f of 1? F of 1 is 3. So negative 2 times 3 plus 1, that gives you an answer of negative 6 plus 1. Your answer is going to be negative 5. Ladies and gentlemen, this is f of 2. We now need to use that to generate f of 3. All right, do you get the process here? So f of 3 is negative 2f of 3 minus 1 plus 1. F of 3 is then equal to negative 2. Well, what is f of 2? Because f of 3 minus 1, that's just f of 2 plus 1. F of 2 is negative 5. So we get negative 2 times negative 5 plus 1. Therefore, f of 3 is going to be equaling positive 11. All right, moving on to f of 4. This one takes a while. F of 4. That's going to be negative 2f of 4 minus 1 plus 1. We get negative 2f of 3 plus 1. That will equal negative 2 times 11 plus 1. That's negative 22 plus 1. Your answer is negative 21 for f of 4. We need one more term to generate f of 5. Let's do it right now. So f of 5 is equal to negative 2f of 5 minus 1 plus 1. We get negative 2f of 4 plus 1. We get negative 2 times negative 21 plus 1. Your answer is going to be 42 plus 1, which is equal to 43. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a f of 5, and that is going to be choice 4. And that is the end of this multiple choice section, and that is the conclusion of this video. I hope that it helped. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down there, and visit my website at www.nysmathreadersprep.com for much more math content in Algebra 1, and I'll see you soon.